Hey beautiful people, this is a series of 5 videos on leadership skills. Is delegation a leadership skill? The answer in short is absolutely yes it is, but it is one of the most essential and most misunderstood skills that leaders really do need. Hi, I'm Jennifer Kenny. I'm the best-selling author of The Innovation Mindset and also award-winning author for 100% Capacity. I work with in highly complex technical environments with technical teams and leadership teams to help them increase their chances of project success. I help leaders grow and develop their capacity so that they can ensure that they're not just delivering success on paper, but they're delivering success in terms of real business metrics. So let me start you off with a small story about delegation opportunities. So one of the things that I've noticed with people, particularly in mid-career, is that one of the ways they look to get themselves noticed and appreciated and valued inside their companies is they keep putting their hands up for stuff. I can do that, I can take that on, I can head that up, I can go to this meeting, I can do this. Now that's wonderful, it's a good thing to do. There are better things you can do, honestly, and we'll talk about those in other videos, but it's a good thing to do because what it does is it expands your experience. Now, here's the thing about it is, it's only really great to do for a finite period of time, because when you're going from being an individual contributor to being a manager or to being a senior manager, it's really great for you to go, I'm going to put my hand up because I'm kind of interested in that. I'd like to explore that. I'd like to see what that is. And you can do that for small things on a fairly regular basis. But if you do that beyond, let's say, senior manager, maybe director level, senior manager mostly. If you continue to do that, you're going to accumulate lots of stuff that you're going to be doing on a pretty constant basis in addition to your day job. So I've been working with a team of people at the moment, and there's one woman on the team, absolutely fantastic, amazing, clever, capable scientist. And she's been putting her hand up for quite a long time. She's been putting her hand up for so long that she is on 13 different committees. So as soon as I heard that she was on 13 different committees, I realized that there's no way that she can actually be really serious about what she came to work to do in the first place, which was vaccine research. Super important work that we all need. And so what we did was we sat down, we looked at all of the membership committees that she's on, that she's representing her group, her organization, she's bringing other organizations together, doing amazing, really great work. But if you're on 13 committees, there's no opportunity for anyone around you to grow because they don't get to put their hand up as individual contributors or managers or junior managers and be a new person on a committee, learning from other people who are wiser and more experienced than them, learning how the business works, learning how decisions get made. So what we did was we cut that down to 3 that were her top 3 that were actually very beneficial and valuable for her. And then we set her up over a 2-week period to basically delegate the other 10 as growth opportunities for the people around her. So she wasn't as much delegating. What she was doing was she was not doing things herself anymore and creating an opening or an opportunity for someone else to step into it. And she was going to coach and support them into that for a period of time so they could transition over. So when we think about delegation, it's very valuable to think about it as the opportunity it presents for somebody else, not necessarily as just me getting shit off my plate. So when you think about it, think about, when did I pick it up? When was it valuable for me to do the learning? Have I done the learning I need from it? And is it now time to hand it off to someone else and give them a growth opportunity? Someone did it for you, now it's time to pay it forward. Leaders, according to Gallup, leaders who delegate, who create opportunities for others, generate 33% higher revenue and have a significant impact on a company's growth and a company's market share. If you don't see delegation as a critical skill that you need to learn and that you need to be able to rethink for yourself, you're not just handing stuff off to people, you're opening doors and creating opportunities for them, see that as a critical skill that you need to learn as a leader. The other thing that delegation does that's really valuable over time, that you accrue value from it over time, is that it really enables you to be able to multiply your impact. So if you're very serious about what it is that you came to an organization to do, in this lady's case, vaccines research, and you recognize the value that can have to humanity as a whole, then what you do over time is that you also realize that you want more people to see the importance and the significance of that. And if you have time to be able to grow people and you give them opportunities and you open doors for them, you're mentoring them at the same time as you're delegating to them. You're not just striking tasks off your list and pawning them off on somebody else. And you're also significantly multiplying your own impact around something that you believe in. Delegation is also something that allows you to be able to build trust. And as I've talked about in numerous other videos, trust is really the mechanism for making an organization operate smoothly and for increasing the organization's chances of success, because everything we do is really founded on trust. If we think about delegation as trust, an opportunity to build trust, and not just on dumping stuff on other people, then we think differently around how we set up those conversations and how we enable them to be successful. If you go to someone and you say, look, I'm super committed to your success inside the organization with respect to XYZ, whatever it is, and I have an opportunity for you that I think you might be interested in. I think there's a committee or an organization that you might be very valuable in terms of what you could contribute to them. I'd like to help and support you get in there and also help you be successful in there. And I can shadow you and support you for a week or two, and then I'm going to rely on you to come to me as a mentor or as a supporter to be able to make sure that you're successful ongoingly. That's a much, much richer conversation with a lot more commitment in it and a lot more trust-building opportunities in it than one that simply says, I've too much on my plate, take this over. The other thing that delegation does is it forces you to prioritize, which is exactly what we were doing as this lady and I were working together. And it forces you to identify what matters to me, what am I really paying attention to, what do I want to be known for, what am I committed to being masterful in, what am I committed to contributing to society. And what it does is it forces you to look at those priorities and then to look at how is everything else you're doing impacting your ability to be able to deliver on your priorities. Now, your priorities are sometimes dictated by the organization, but ultimately, as you get more senior, your priorities are really dictated by you because they're your contribution to the organization. And if you look at them as being exclusively dictated by someone else, you're going to be pretty miserable anyway. So if you think about delegation as a way to sharpen your priorities, it tends to make you really focus in on where you're going to spend your time, and then you're opening up doors and opportunities for other people to figure out whether or not they want to spend some of their time on things that you've already learned a lot from and that you are committed to opening doors for them and passing them on. The most obvious one around delegation is it grows future leaders. Again, you think of delegation as you opening doors for people. What you will tend to do as you start thinking about who you want to delegate things to, you'll start thinking in terms of the alignment between what it is you're delegating, what the opportunity is for the person, what the person has shown an interest in, what matters to them, what they're trying to grow themselves to be. And you start creating alignment around what you're delegating and the individual that you're delegating it to. That helps you tune in much more effectively into the type of leaders that you're growing, the type of leaders that are around you, the leadership opportunities that exist for people. So it's part of your overall leadership development for yourself to know what are the growth opportunities for people. Where in the organization can people go and move to another department on sabbatical for 6 months of learning and go and do something else that comes back to your team, where they can sit on a committee that can add more value to the organization as a whole, and they can learn something about it and bring it back to the team. So there's lots of reasons why you want to think about delegation as an opportunity to grow next generation of leaders, and it also precipitates you having different kinds of conversations with other leaders in the organizations and with your HR department as they look to grow the human resources. You're growing specific leaders, they're looking to grow the resources in an organization as a whole. The other thing that it forces you to do, and I actually like things that kind of push me to do better, because I'm always learning and looking to grow. But I think that if you're someone like that, and obviously you are because you're listening to these videos, but delegation requires that you have a certain level of structure. It requires that you have clear expectations for the person. It requires that you're providing them with a certain level of resources, and sometimes that resource is you. And it also requires that you do a level of support and follow up for them. So as you start thinking about the delegations that you want to make, you're not just dumping stuff over the wall at people, you're actually supporting them in being successful. I've found that as I start delegation conversations, they're usually coming from a place of, I'm committed to you being successful as you do X. I want to ask that you take this on, or I want to offer you this opportunity to take this on. You're going to have my support to be successful, but know that I've got your back, essentially. I'm there committed to making sure that you're going to be successful. It also requires that you have very clear standards, because if you put someone in a position that's a bit of a stretch for them and you discover that they're not making the stretch and they're not able to make the stretch, and you've done a couple of cycles of helping them, you need to pull them out of there and you need to have someone else that you can put in. So delegation pushes you to really understand your resources and think about the individuals on your team in terms of their growth potential and their growth opportunities. The next video in this series I think is relevant as a sort of adjunct to this one, and it is empathy a leadership skill? As you build your delegation capacity, empathy is absolutely something that you want to be able to build your capacity around, and it'll help you do effective and successful delegation. As you build your leadership skills, kudos to you. We need more wonderful leaders. I hope these videos support you in the process, and I wish you the very best of luck with your growth. Take care.